So it feels like every single week, right? A new AI model drops, some huge breakthrough gets announced. And you're probably just sitting there thinking, is any of this for real, or is it all just hype?
I was asking myself that exact same question. So, for this explainer, I decided to do a deep dive, really get into what OpenAI, XAI, and Anthropic are building behind all the marketing. And honestly, what I found completely changed my perspective on this whole race to AGI. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put these giants head to head. We'll look at their big picture strategies, the actual tech under the hood, the insane amount of computer power they're using, and this one's important, their totally different takes on safety. And then, of course, we'll try to answer the big one. Who's actually going to win this thing? Okay, so let's set the stage. You've got three major players, three wildly different ideas about how to build this stuff. And every single one of them is betting billions, and I mean billions of dollars, that they're the ones who've got it right. First up, let's talk strategy. And this isn't just, some boring business plan. This is the core belief system, the philosophy that's driving this whole crazy race. Okay, so what's wild is how different these approaches are. First, you have OpenAI. They're basically playing the long game. Their whole bet is that a slow, steady, step-by-step move toward AGI is the safest way to do it. They think having a smarter design and tons of human feedback is going to beat just raw power. Then you've got XAI. And, well, it's Elon Musk, right? So, of course, he's just going massive. Their whole vibe is move fast, scale up, and we'll figure out the details as we go. It's super high risk, but they're shooting for a giant leap forward. And then there's Anthropic, kind of the quiet one in the corner. Their whole strategy is safety first, business second. They want to be the AI company that big businesses and governments feel like they can actually trust. It's a much more careful, principled approach. But that trust factor, that could be their secret weapon.
All right, so that's the high-level philosophy. But how does that actually turn into code? Let's pop the hood, because this is where things get really, really interesting.
So, OpenAI is super secretive, as always, but the big rumor for GPT-6 is something called latent space reasoning. Now, the easiest way to picture this is imagine giving the AI an inner voice, an internal monologue. So instead of having to think out loud by writing everything out step by step, it can just solve problems silently, inside its own head. And what does that mean? Well, it should be way faster, way more efficient, and just a whole lot smarter when it comes to tricky problems. Now, on the total opposite side of things, you've got XAI's Grok-5. They're not doing anything subtle. It's just a brute force approach. We're talking a rumored 6 trillion parameter mixture of experts model. The scale is just mind-blowing. But then look at Anthropic's Claude. They're skipping all those complicated tricks and using something called dense transformers. Think of it this way. They're smaller, they're more streamlined, but they're built to be insanely efficient. They really do punch way above their weight. And yeah, Grok-5 is just the perfect example of XAI's whole go big or go home thing. It's designed from the ground up to handle everything. Text, images, video, audio, all at once. And get this, the context window is supposedly up to 2 million tokens. You could literally feed it a whole movie script and it would remember everything. But here's the craziest part. There are rumors of a reality engine that taps directly into the data from X to fact-check itself in real time. Just wow. But hey, don't sleep on Anthropic's work smarter, not harder approach. Check this out. Their Claude Sonnet 4.6 model just scored a 68.8% on this really tough benchmark called ARC AGI-2. Now, that's not just some random test. It's specifically designed to see how well an AI can solve brand new complex problems. It's like a sneak peek at AGI capabilities. And for context, GPT-5.2's rumored score was 54.2%. That's a huge difference. It really backs up Anthropic's whole idea. You don't have to be the biggest, you just have to be the smartest. Of course, all this amazing code is useless without the hardware to run it on. And that brings us to the next front in this war, the compute arms race. And let me tell you, the numbers we're about to talk about they're just on another level. So this number you're seeing, 780,000 GPUs. That's what's inside XAI's Colossus 2. It is, without a doubt, the single most powerful concentration of AI hardware on Earth, all in one place. And Musk claims they built this $18 billion monster in just over 4 months. That's not just a data center. It's an AGI factory. And this really shows you the different playbooks. You have XAI putting all their eggs in one giant, powerful basket with Colossus. Then you have OpenAI, who's building Stargate.
Think of it like a global spider web of data centers all working together. And then Anthropic is doing something really clever. They're spreading their bets, training their models on hardware from Amazon, Google, and NVIDIA, all at the same time. That way, if one supplier has a problem, they're not dead in the water.
So when you boil it all down, what does it mean? Basically, money isn't the problem anymore. All three of these companies have what amounts to an unlimited budget for computers. So the real race isn't about who can buy the most GPUs. It's about who can use them the smartest.
Okay, let's shift gears to a topic that might be the most important one of all, safety. Because this isn't just some afterthought or a box you check for the regulators. Honestly, how these companies handle safety could be the one thing that decides who actually wins this whole thing.
And the difference here, especially between Anthropic and XAI, is just night and day. For Anthropic, safety is literally their entire game plan. They wrote a whole AI constitution for their models. They even turned down a huge contract with the Pentagon because it crossed their ethical lines. And XAI, they seem to be all in on the build fast, fix later approach. In fact, they signed the very same Pentagon deal that Anthropic rejected. They're much more focused on shipping the product and then fixing problems as they pop up.
Yeah, and that Pentagon story really says it all about Anthropic. They were willing to walk away from a lot of money because they drew a line in the sand. No mass surveillance, no autonomous weapons. End of story. For them, some things just aren't up for debate. So where does OpenAI fit in all this? Well, they're kind of the middle ground. They absolutely take the risk of AGI seriously. They see it as a potential threat to humanity. Their whole philosophy is that you can't build something this powerful without watching it like a hawk. So every model they make gets hammered by red teams trying to break it, it gets fine-tuned with tons of human feedback, they release it super slowly, and then they monitor it 24/7 once it's out in the wild. Okay, the moment of truth. We've looked at strategy, tech, money, safety. So let's get down to it. Who is actually going to win?
If you look at the public timelines, it's pretty revealing. XAI is pushing the hardest, saying we could see a public version of Grok-5 by spring 2026. That's either extreme confidence or extreme recklessness. You decide. Anthropic has made the most specific, bold claim. They're predicting AI that can do Nobel Prize-level work by late 2026 or early 2027. And then there's OpenAI. They're playing it cool, not giving any firm dates. But if you read the tea leaves, they're probably looking at sometime after 2027, which fits their whole slow and steady vibe. So let's break down the odds. With Anthropic, their biggest strength is trust and safety. That could make them the default choice for serious enterprise customers. The risk? They might be too careful and fall behind. OpenAI is the safe bet, right? They're the champs, they've got the track record. But that same careful step-by-step process could mean they get lapped. And XAI, they're the total wild card. They've got the most power and they're moving the fastest, but their whole safety-second attitude is a huge gamble. It could pay off big, or it could blow up in their faces. So, what's my final verdict? Honestly, it's impossible to call. There is no clear winner right now. The playbooks are just too different, and the tech is changing almost daily. The real answer is going to come from the products they actually ship over the next year and a half. That's going to tell us way more than any speculation. And really, that brings us to the most important question of all. Maybe we're so focused on who wins the race that we're forgetting to ask what winning even means. Because it's not just about who gets to AGI first. It's about who gets there safely, responsibly, and in a way that actually makes things better for everyone. That, at the end of the day, is the only